Humans are animals, and somehow we seem to forget that, particularly when considering the other animals we share this planet with. Ingrid Newkirk drops by to discuss the 4 areas where animals are most severely exploited. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to our channel. Now on the line with us is Ingrid Newkirk. She's got a new book out along with Gene Stone. It's titled Animalkind, Remarkable Discoveries About Animals and Revolutionary New Ways to Show Them Compassion. Ingrid, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Tom.
I should add, you are the founder and president of PETA, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, an organization that I have known about, worked with. I gave a keynote speech at one of your, geez, this was back in 1980, I think, 1980 or 81, one of your early conventions. I can't remember the name of the guy who ran the program back then. But anyway, I've been with you guys for a long time, and I think it's just wonderful what you're doing. IngridNewkirk.com, by the way, the website, and of course, PETA.org, PETA.org. Tell us what you learned in researching this book. What were the most remarkable discoveries in your mind?
Oh, boy, Tom, I thought I knew just about everything because I collect all this information about news reports of animal communication and intelligence and emotions and so on. But in researching the book, I learned huge numbers of things I didn't know. And it's hard to know where to start. But, for example, you mentioned the intelligence tests we talk about in the book. And there is one now called the gold standard of animal intelligence. I mean, take it or leave it. This is what researchers now use. And it's to show how intelligent an animal is. So it's called the mirror test. And if you can recognize yourself in the mirror, you're intelligent. Tribal peoples have problems with this. Chimpanzees have been able to think, oh, that's not someone attacking me, that's me. A little tiny fish called the wrasse, who is also known as the teeth-cleaning fish, because you can watch this on National Geographic. Big fish line up for this little fish to go in their mouths and take out the debris between their teeth. This tiny fish can recognize herself in the mirror, and she not only recognizes herself, but she starts to preen, just like Kim Kardashian.
That's remarkable. I have one cat that does and 2 cats that don't. It's remarkable stuff. Where are we at in this country and in this around the world? Obviously, there's a lot of things are much worse in many parts of the world than they are in the United States. But broadly speaking, where are we at in the way that we're treating our fellow, particularly mammalian, but across the species spectrum, our fellow animals on this planet? We tend to forget the fact that humans are animals.
Yeah, so we're always at war with each other. Our own species is always killing itself. But it runs the spectrum, really, Tom, because we've come so far, and people, in part, thanks to the internet and all the videos you see, people do realize that animals are thinking, they are feeling, they experience fear and love and joy, and they want to be free and all that sort of stuff. But we also are not only beginning what Joaquin Phoenix on the Oscars was talking about, this connectedness that we have to feel with all the other species, that we're all in this together, but we still do some atrocious things like trophy hunting, for example. Botswana just opened up elephant hunting for the first time in years, so that was a regressive step. And we still have so many animals in laboratories. We've got rid of a lot of tests. We just got rid of the forced swim test, where they drop these little animals into beakers of water, and they struggle desperately. And the researchers just record how long it takes for them to stop struggling. I mean, ludicrous things like the Harlow experiments you mentioned. But we also still do psychology experiments on animals that are hideously cruel, taking monkeys away from their mothers still in some experiments. And, of course, we're seeing the rise of veganism. We're seeing the rise of vegan clothing. We're seeing an end to cosmetics tests on animals. But we're seeing an end to circuses that use animals. But on the other hand, we've got a long, long way to go.
I thought one of the most, I'm always looking for turning points, and in fact, back in, my wife and I became vegetarian in 67, 68, way back in the day. And really as part of our anti-Vietnam War activism and, and flirting with transcendental meditation and stuff like that. But maybe a year ago, I think it was, Arnold Schwarzenegger produced a movie for, as I recall, it's on Netflix. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's called Game Changers. And it's about all these world-class athletes. I mean, literally the strongest man in the world, the fastest woman in the world, these extraordinary athletes who are all completely plant-based diet, no animal products whatsoever, and they're not doing it because they're compassionate about animals. They're doing it because it's the optimal way to achieve good health and peak performance. And in the middle of the movie, one of the guys who's making the movies, his dad has a heart attack, and they put him on this diet, and boom, his heart disease resolves by 6 months down the road. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. Are we seeing major tipping points like we saw in the 60s, largely coming out of pacifism and spirituality, now coming out of health and this emerging sense of compassion, that we're all sentient beings here on this planet?
Yeah, absolutely. And Game Changers, I can't recommend it enough. I'm a Formula One race car fan, and the world champion is Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis is actually an ethical vegan. But once he became vegan, he has said nothing has improved his race more. And he is now, I think he's 7-time world champion. He's opened a vegan restaurant in London. And all these athletes, Rich Roll, long-distance runners, there's a German weightlifter who can pull a truck with people in it, a school bus with people in it, all vegan. And so people say, where do you get your protein? And nowadays you think people are learning. You can have vegan anything you want. There are taste-alikes that aren't made from animal flesh and blood and milk and eggs and so on. But also it is cleaning out your arteries. It's getting you away from obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer. So yes, there is a huge health push. There is a huge push among athletes. The Williams sisters, the tennis sisters, they are vegan too. And it's really exciting for many reasons. But compassion, obviously, is what we need to have for each other. And we need to learn more about animals and learn how they are not just like us, they are us. We're all in it together.
Yeah, people say, where are you getting your protein? And I said, well, you're eating, dead cows and pigs, or dead cows anyway. Where did they get their protein? And they give you this blank look, like, well, didn't you know cows are vegetarians? I mean, elephants are vegetarians. It's like some of the most powerful animals, hippopotamuses, rhinos. I mean, they're all vegans, essentially. So
stallions, yes.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Tom, I have to tell you, we talk about human heroes. Animal heroes I have in the book, but one I didn't get into the book was during the LA fires. This horse I saw on the news, was about to be loaded into a trailer, and the horse farm behind him was completely enshrouded with smoke, and behind that was the fire. And suddenly he heard something, his ears pricked up, and he ran back down the road and into this smoke-filled ranch, and everyone's heart was in their mouths saying, oh, God, don't go back in there. And he had heard a mare, Winnie, and he went back in. He found her and the foal, and he led them all out to safety on the road. I mean, that's like The Rock in some Hollywood blockbuster.